Okinawa, the bloodiest battle of the Pacific War. From April 1st to June 22nd, 1945, the island of Okinawa became the stage for the bloodiest and final major battle of the Pacific War, an encounter so brutal that it forever changed American military strategy and the fate of the world. War II, known as the Battle of Okinawa, it was a cataclysmic clash that cost more lives than the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki combined, and left a lasting scar on history, especially for the civilian population caught in the crossfire. Strategic importance of Okinawa. Okinawa, the largest of the Ryukyu Islands, lies just 350 miles from mainland Japan. Measuring roughly 60 miles in length and between 2 to 18 miles in width, it held enormous strategic value for both American and Japanese forces. For the U.S., control of Okinawa meant access to 4 critical airfields, ideal for launching air assaults on the Japanese mainland. For Japan, retaining Okinawa was vital to keeping the war front distant from the home islands, especially after the devastating loss of its Truk naval base in 1944. Operation Iceberg, the invasion begins. The U.S. invasion was part of Operation Iceberg, a massive and complex military campaign to capture the Ryukyus. On Easter Sunday, April 1st, 1945, over 1,500 American ships launched the largest amphibious assault in the Pacific, carrying more than 180,000 troops to Okinawan shores. Expectations were grim. Troops braced for a bloodbath even worse than D-Day. Yet, the initial beach landings were met with eerie silence. Kadena and Yantan airfields were secured with minimal resistance as the Japanese 32nd Army, under Lieutenant Gen Mitsuru Ujima, had pulled back to prepare defenses further inland. A deadly strategy of delay. Unbeknownst to American forces, the Japanese had adopted a strategy of attrition. Instead of defending the beaches, they entrenched themselves deep in the island's southern hills, particularly along the Shuri Line, a heavily fortified triangle of death. Japanese soldiers, along with conscripted Okinawan civilians and Beitata home guards, waited in tunnels, caves, and pillboxes, determined to bleed the enemy dry before the war reached Japan's main islands. The bloodbath unfolds. As American troops advanced southward, the fighting grew increasingly savage. Torrential rains turned roads into rivers of mud and bodies, while hills like Sugarloaf, Kakaza Ridge, Horseshoe Ridge, and Half Moon Hill became meat grinders. The infamous Maeda Escarpment, or Hacksaw Ridge, became a symbol of the battle's cruelty. It was here that Corporal Desmond T. Doss, a conscientious objector and medic, saved 75 wounded men single-handedly and earned the Medal of Honor. The ridge was finally taken on May 6 after hand-to-hand fighting against deeply dug-in Japanese defenders. Kamikazes in the Yamato's last stand. The sea battle was equally horrific. The Japanese unleashed a massive kamikaze campaign, launching waves of suicide pilots who dove their aircraft into U.S. ships. At over 500 miles per hour, these attacks sank 36 ships, damaged 368. Killed nearly 5,000 sailors, and wounded almost 5,000 more. In a desperate attempt to turn the tide, the giant battleship Yamato, the largest in history, was sent to attack the U.S. fleet. It never reached its destination. American aircraft intercepted and sank it, taking nearly all 3,000 crew members with it. Civilian tragedy and psychological warfare. Okinawa was the only Japanese prefecture to experience ground combat, and its civilians bore the heaviest burden. The population, roughly 490,000, was concentrated in the southern part of the island, right where the most intense fighting occurred. Civilians were caught between two merciless forces. Many were coerced into supporting Japanese troops. The Himuri and Blood and Iron Student Corps consisted of school children drafted to serve as medics or laborers. Of the 2,000 students mobilized, over 1,000 perished. Japanese propaganda, warning of American atrocities, led to a tragic wave of mass suicides. Families leapt from cliffs, used grenades, or otherwise ended their lives in despair. In response, American General Simon Bolivar Buckner dropped leaflets urging surrender, but only around 7,000 Japanese soldiers complied. Most chose suicide over capture. General Ushijima and his chief of staff, General Cho, committed ritual suicide on June 22nd, marking the official end of the battle. Casualties and consequences. The Battle of Okinawa resulted in unimaginable losses. American casualties numbered over 49,000, with 12,520 killed, including General Buckner, the highest-ranking U.S. officer to die in World War II. Japanese military deaths reached over 107,000, and an estimated 24,000 were buried alive when U.S. forces sealed caves. More than 16,000 Japanese surrendered, the highest number of any battle in the Pacific. Yet the most appalling figure was civilian deaths. Over 140,000 Okinawan civilians, men, women, and children, lost their lives, exceeding the combined total of military deaths on both sides. Many were victims of force group suicides encouraged or coerced by the Japanese military. A turning point in military thinking. The psychological toll of the battle was immense. American military planners, witnessing the sheer ferocity and cost of Okinawa, began to reconsider their plans for a ground invasion of Japan. The neuropsychiatric casualties were higher than any previous Pacific battle. The trauma, exhaustion, and the vision of what lay ahead prompted a new path forward, one that would end with the dropping of atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Legacy. Okinawa stands apart in World War II history. It was a battle of endurance, desperation, and unspeakable loss. From kamikaze pilots and battleships to student nurses and mass suicides, it was a dark crucible war that highlighted the tragedy of total conflict. It influenced the endgame of the war and forever altered the trajectory of modern warfare. The island of Okinawa, once seen as a stepping stone to Japan, became a solemn symbol of the ultimate cost of war.